In this video, we will talk portal news. So we will go smallest to biggest. So Q is in the portal. We'll talk about that briefly. Then we'll go on to the big fish in the portal currently remaining. That being Cotie McMahon has committed. In addition, we will take a look at a new entrance to the portal, which is Gianna Barker, and what is going on at UCLA. And we'll finish off with talking about the last big fish out there that I think might have the most impact out of anybody. Before we start, if you enjoy the content, then please consider subscribing to the channel and giving the video a like. All right, let's get into this. So as mentioned in the opening, Qandence Samuel is in the portal for UConn. I don't think this was a big surprise. She really wasn't getting much playing time. She's going into her junior year, and I think it's probably a smart move for her to get in the portal, find a place where she'll be able to play. I don't think UConn fans would be too upset because that opens up another slot. So currently they have 13 players on their roster and 2 spots available. That will presumably mean that they'll go after big. All the rumors are they are definitely interested in Sarah Williams. And then the other spot, you think they would be looking for a point guard to replace Caitlin Chin. They've always had that sort of solid point guard that they like. So before Chin, it was Nika Mule that they liked pairing up with Paige Beckers. It'll be interesting to see if they keep the same strategy. With Beckers moving on, do they still want to have sort of the almost 2-point guard setup or not? Is the point guard going to be covered by KK going into the starting lineup and Ashlyn Shade or whatever? I think it'll become clear once we figure out if they're going to bring in 2 transfers or not. In regard to Samuels, I think her most impactful game was versus Texas. She came in the fourth quarter and helped make a game of it. But ultimately, the, story of her UConn career was if she wasn't hitting her shot, then she really did not add much value. She also had a big shot versus USC 2 years ago in the tournament. So, but again, I think it's better that she's moving off to go to somewhere new. Will it be Maryland? She's from Maryland, and it seems like Maryland is where all ex-UConn players go to play. So to be determined. Anyway, good luck, Qandence Samuel. And yes, we'll be tracking who UConn brings in. Will it be a big and a point guard? To be determined, as I said. Now the next one, the big portal news, or the big catch of the day, was Ole Miss, as they have got a commitment from Cotie McMahon, who is Ole Miss bound. Once again, Coach Yo is getting it done in the portal. Take a look at the transfers they have coming in. So Letitia Lattimore, she's 6'4" from Virginia. She averaged 14 points last year. Then Caitlin Peterson, she's a 5'8" guard from UCF. She averaged 21 points. She's a senior. Then Cotie McMahon, obviously, at Ohio State, and she averaged 16 points. And then Jayla Murray from Wichita State. She is also transferred in. She averaged 12 points. So she's bringing in scores as well. If you look at the people leaving Ole Miss, so Noel, Diageo, Collins, Kiera, none of them were impactful players. So they are doing quite well in the portal. Not to mention that they still have Star Jacobs returning, and Christina Awala, the UCLA transfer from last year. So, yeah, Ole Miss is looking really good for next season. And one of the things that hurt them last year was size. I think Lattimore will help with that as well. Star Jacobs, they just have a lot of forwards and guards, and they are going to be a tough matchup with their pressure defense. So, yeah, Coach Yo just seems to dominate the portal. It'll be interesting how she puts the parts together. Last year's team for Ole Miss, it was almost like a good but not really good team. When they had those big games against Texas, they were there to win. And even UConn, they gave them a run at the start of the season. But when it was crunch time, they just could not get over the top. With Cotie McMahon, is that the player that will allow them to get them over the top? Now, Cotie McMahon, she had a rough end to Ohio State. She wasn't real happy there. She sort of sent out a final tweet saying, I'm going to go somewhere where I know that all my teammates are in like me. And it's like, oof, that's probably not the best way to leave Ohio State, but hey, if that's how you feel, then sure. I guess the new modern way is you have to post it on social media. Anyway, Ole Miss is looking really good on paper. Now it'll be interesting to see how Coach Yo puts the parts together next year. Now, the other big news of the day was UCLA. They have lost two more players via the portal. So it started days earlier when they lost basically their entire 2024 recruiting class. Kendall Dudley, rated number 18. She has gone to Michigan. Avery Kane, number 26, is in the portal. Big Z, rated number 30, is in the portal. And they're starting sometimes point guard Alina Arnasalo. She is in the portal. So that was four. And then today, the Daily Bruin announced that Gianna Baker and London Jones, they are going into the portal as well. Is this a big deal? Should UCLA fans be panicking or not? Well, maybe, but I don't think so. I think it really depends on who they pick up via the portal. I think there's one important piece, but if you look at their roster and we break this down a bit, let's take a look. So next year, with those players gone, what they currently have, they have Lauren Betts at center, then her sister Sienna Betts, who will be coming in, and she'll be playing a forward, and that might be why Barker's transferred out. And is losing Barker that big of a loss? So she really did not shoot from outside very well. The pairing of her and Lauren Betts, because neither one could really shoot outside the key, it was a bit of a struggle. She gave them athleticism, but overall, was she a good fit for them? I at times I thought they would have been better off getting Tamia Gardner more minutes, and Tamia Gardner is returning. She's not in the portal thus far, so I don't think the loss of Barker is that big of a deal. I think it's almost addition by subtraction. Not that she had a bad attitude or anything like that, but I just think it's a better fit. Dugliach, we don't know yet, so Dugliach might return, might not. But even if they go into the season with the forwards, Betts, Lauren Betts, Sienna Betts, Tamia Gardner, that's not too bad. And then if they get Dugliach as well, then they're still loaded up front. So I don't think it's alarm bells going off. And then their recruiting class as well. They've got, well, one I haven't mentioned yet. They've got Charlize Ledger-Walker. She'll be returning from her ACL injury, and she'll take the minutes that were taken by Arnasalo. So that's not a big deal. And then they've got an incoming recruit, Lena Bilic. She is a 6'3" shooting guard from Croatia. She can shoot. She's big, and I think she'll be a good player. I think that's a nice little upgrade. London Jones could be very streaky, and then she could be a problem when they were going against teams like UConn that had really big guards, with her trying to get her shot off. So the streakiness and that, I don't know if it's that big of a loss. Like, you want experienced players, but if Bilic comes in and she plays like she has in Europe, I think that will almost be an upgrade, because you'll have a big guard instead of a streaky sort of smaller guard. And then obviously Kiki Rice will be there, but I think the big thing is who they can get in the portal. So that lineup of Betts, Gardner, Dugliach, Bilic, Ledger, and Rice is good. And then there's one player in the portal that is still out there that hasn't committed. The highest rated one is Gianna Kneepkens. So she's from Utah, rated number 4 by Charlie Cream. I think that will have a big impact. Now, the schools that she's looking at are going to go visit. So Kneepkens is going to visit South Carolina, Oklahoma, Texas, and UCLA. And where she goes, she is, I think this will be the most underrated portal commitment out there, because I think her impact could be dramatic, because South Carolina needs more shooting, because they're going to lose Pow Pow. The year when they won it, 23-24, their outside shooting was a lot better. When you compare their shooting chart from 23-24 versus the 24-25 season, it's just not as good, and that hurt them. I mean, that's sort of a Captain Obvious statement, obviously, but I think they would really like to get Kneepkens, as she would really fill that spot and boost their shooting. Same thing with Texas, because they are losing Shea Holly, and they need more outside shooting, and she could just plug in right there. Would be interesting if she went to Texas, because she'd be coming from Utah, that was the most analytical team, and their philosophy was, we're taking 3-pointers or we're at the rim, where Texas seems quite comfortable in the mid-range game. So that will be a very big mind shift for her if they wind up doing that. So it'll be interesting to see if that's where she winds up going. The other two schools, if she goes to Oklahoma, that would be a great fit. And that's the thing with Kneepkens, is she is just a plug-in player because she can shoot. She's big at 6 foot and can play defense okay and position herself. Any of these teams she goes to, she'll just fit right in. With Oklahoma, with Chavez coming in as the #1 recruit, they still have Regan Beers. And in addition, Peyton Verhulst is returning as well. And that would give Oklahoma a big 3. They'd still need to work on not turning over the ball and playing better defense. But those 3 together, you could just see them putting up big numbers the way Oklahoma likes to do with Baranchek's offense. And then, of course, the last team that would have interest, UCLA. Just look at her shot chart. Combine that with Lauren Betts, and man, that would really help give Lauren Betts more space to operate inside. That's what UCLA really, really needs, is more consistent shooters. So even with the 6 losses, I believe if UCLA could score Kneepkens, then I would almost trade. I would make the trade 1 for 6 for, well, I guess you're trading the future and getting rid of all your freshmen. So that's obviously not ideal. But yeah, I think Kneepkens would be quite impactful with Lauren Betts, and they would still have enough to make a Final Four championship run next year. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where she goes. Again, I think South Carolina would really benefit from her as well. Would give them another big guard to go along with Tessa Johnson and just another shooter. You can never have too many shooters. If you look at the UConn shot chart from last season, that's what they did. They crushed teams. They had the big 3 that all could shoot, and that just puts teams in all sorts. If you take a look at the shot chart of all of the different teams that were in the Final Four and #1 seeds, UConn was the best shooting team, and then it was, I believe, UCLA, and then you move on and on. And the motto is, again, you can never have too much shooting. And a big shooter like Kneepkens, yeah, I think she is very underrated and will have a big impact wherever she goes. The last thing with Barker, I'm curious if Charlie Cream updates his portal list where he places her, because for me, if I was ranking them, I would rather have Sarah Williams or Samaya Smith. I think Sarah Williams is currently rated 6 on his list, and Samaya Smith is 7. And yeah, I would take Barker. I would put Barker below both of those players. I would definitely rather have Samaya Smith, just because you know what you're getting from her game to game. Is in some ways, it'll be interesting at the next school for Barker. Can she put her talent into numbers and production? Because right now she's almost like an all airport team. Like she looks great, she's athletic, but that consistency's not there. Anyway, that's enough from me. Do you agree with me? Do you think UCLA, their losses hurt a bit, the 6, but overall, if they get Kneepkens, then they're doing just fine for next year as well. The Q, moving on, good for her, good for UConn, because UConn needs to get a backup point guard as well. Any other thoughts or comments you have, by all means, please put them in the comments. All right, thanks a lot for watching. Have a great night.